Hey, what up, y'all? Sir Cash back with another video. So I know this is really soon because normally I don't upload multiple videos within, the same week. But I really wanted to talk about buying a used vehicle and specifically a rebuilt title. Now, to put it simply, a rebuilt title is basically a car that has been bought from an insurance company for a number of reasons. Either it was a theft recovery, or it was water damage, or it's been involved in an accident. And there's a couple other reasons why a car can have a rebuilt title. Now, in the case of my G37, the reason why I bought this car with a rebuilt title is because I saw the nature of the damage. I would generally stay away from cars with water damage because basically our cars today are computers. There's too many electronics that could get damaged, the possibility of rust. And if this car doesn't need to be your, I would say, daily car, then I would generally stay away from rebuilt titles unless you are car savvy. If you're not car savvy, stay away from rebuilt titles. I would also stay away from a car with the rebuilt title that had front impact damage. The reason why, well, you have too many things in the front. Not only do you have like the steering rack, you have different bushings, motor mounts, radiator lines, oil pans, things of that nature, and a lot of electronics that's actually in the front of the vehicle. So I would actually stay away from cars with that. Side impacts, it really depends on the nature of the impact. Was it just a door ding, or was it a quarter panel damage? And also stay away from a vehicle that has had the airbags deployed. Unless you're taking that, let's say it's a Nissan 240SX and it's drift trash, so it doesn't matter. But if you're not car savvy, I would stay away from any vehicle that has had an airbag deployment, because your safety is number one above everything else. If your car isn't safe to be in, it shouldn't be safe for you to drive. But we're all adults, and you make your own decision. But as far as the G37 that I'm in, there were some things that I pointed out in my other video, which I'll link in the description. I'll link both videos, the review of the car and my used car buying tips. And I said specifically in my used car buying tips, you need to see if the paint matches the entire car. If the front bumper matches the side panels. If the side panels match the quarter panels. You just got to make sure that the entire car matches colors to kind of weed out if a car has had a rebuilt title or not. Now, there are some cars that have a clean title that have basically damage, and I've already spoken on that, but they won't actually list it in there. So you really have to have a good eye for what you're looking for. Who are rebuilt title cars made for? Honestly, I believe those cars are more marketed towards people who want a second vehicle, who want to give a vehicle to a younger first driver. There's some parents who have the funds to put their kid in a brand new safety featured car, but it's going to cost a good chunk of money. And then there are other parents who just need to make sure their child gets to A to B without breaking down. Generally, those cars would be a little bit better for those type of people, especially with the rebuilt title, because you're looking at value. And so a lot of people in the used car market, you have a set price or a general price for a used vehicle with a clean title. Rebuilt titles are going to bring in lower value because they're not worth the same as a clean title. Now, when you have a title that isn't clean, if you go to sell that car, then they're going to give you less money for that, obviously, because they're like, well, it's not a clean title car. So we're going to hop outside and I'm going to show you some features on this car that point out specifically that it is a rebuilt title, other than just showing you the title itself. And so let's hop out there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, now that we're outside the car, let me show you some telltale signs of a car with a rebuilt title or a car that's been in a wreck. So as we look up at the car, and as I told you before, I knew that the car had a rear impact. So here's some telltale signs. If you can look at this car just a little bit closer, you can see that this rear bumper is a different color from that. You see how the quarter panels just don't match? And also the bottom of the car. That color doesn't match that color. Two different colors. And if you look at the trunk itself, the trunk, same color as the car, but not the spoiler. And so was that enough for me to walk away from a car because I had a rebuild title? Absolutely not. You know, things like that, that's cosmetic. What I said before is you're worried about the underneath of the car. You're worried about the subframe is bent. Now, one negative side, and I'm not even gonna lie, is that my rear camera doesn't work. And I found that out the hard way. I made it all the way home and never really used the rear camera. And as I went up to look at it, or I put my car in reverse, I was like, you know, what the heck? It's supposed to come up on the screen. Doesn't work. So, you know, I can get that fixed, but it's not really a big deal. I know how to turn around. I know how to reverse without needing a camera. So don't let that discourage you. If, like I said before, if the side panel's damaged, I don't know. Definitely the front, I would stay away from that as well. When it comes to understanding vehicles and what their use is for, it's all about the user, honestly. It's about what you want and how you're going to make that work for you. If that even makes sense. It's almost redundant. Oh, that's super redundant. But I generally don't mind working on my vehicle, and if you don't mind working on your vehicle, and rebuilt titles might be the way to go. What's ironic is I've had a lot of people actually tell me how clean the vehicle is. Like, man, that's a clean looking car. And I'm like, if you only knew if it had a rebuilt title. So let's say you're walking up to a dealership and you're looking at this car. You know, first thing you should probably look at is this. You know, like, hey, what the heck is up with that? You know, has this car been in a wreck? And they say, yeah, but it's been in a wreck and a rear impact. One thing I did want to point out is when I said run your fingers across the body lines and look for what you call pinch points. So here's a very good example. As you see, the trunk is fine. You know, you run your finger along right here, and then you go down, and then look at this point right here. You see how that just doesn't line up as it should? You can tell. Pinch point right here as well on how tight it gets, or even just right there. Pinch point. If you look at how the factory is, you see how that line is clean all the way around. Even the door is fine, you know, no specific pinch points whatsoever. That's what you need to look for as far as like the gaps and things of that nature. Look for the pinch points that will give you telltale signs. Also, there's a very ironic or very specific telltale sign right here. You see how that just doesn't line up as well? That's just, you can tell this is a new bumper right here, this major gap, and then it goes all the way right there. Pinch point. If we look at the very back of the car, I put on an aftermarket exhaust, and I don't know if you can see, but you see how it's like that. Instead of like this, it's like that. Not a big deal to me, second car. Now, how does insurance work with buying a car with a rebuilt title? Let's say you get in a car, you have your insurance on it, you drive off the lot, somebody smacks you. Do you think your insurance is gonna pay you the full price for the vehicle, or they're gonna pay you at a reduced rate? Well, here in Oklahoma, I talked to my agent with State Farm, and State Farm told me that if the vehicle has been repaired, we will pay you the price of the vehicle that its Blue Book value is, or the NADA. You can also go on the NADA and just look up the, you know, how much your car should be worth, new or used. I don't know if they do rebuilt titles on there. So I was like, well, that's a plus, because some people are afraid if I get a car with this, I get into a wreck, they're gonna give me like a third of the car. So get a vehicle, take pictures of it, make sure that it's all, you know, that you have your documents in order. Somebody hits you, you show your insurance company, nah, the vehicle was repaired, it should be straight. So don't be afraid of cars with a rebuilt title, just based off of the nature of the damage. Stay away from water damage. I would stay away from smack dab front impacts. If this car had, you know, a brand new bumper, brand new hood, and I knew it got pushed in, let's just say right here, not at all. Airbag deployment, stay away from that. But anything besides that, if it's cosmetic and you don't mind, it's fine. So hopefully this video kind of like broke the stereotype of cars with rebuilt titles and staying away from them. I know that, you know, I haven't had any problems out of this car. I actually have people who tell me how clean the car is. I've had people wanting to buy this car. So it's a good car in my opinion. Eventually I'm gonna wrap it, maybe a different color or so, and keep it pushing. So anyways, if you like the video, let me know. Let me know your stories. Let me know if you bought a car with a rebuild title, if you haven't, if you stay away from them, you know, kind of your thing. And so we'll keep the conversation going. Hey, thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.